Winning the World Voice Calling Championship 3 times consecutively is an accomplishment only one man has achieved. Mark Drury is that man. After 8 years on the pro circuit, Mark has firmly entrenched himself as one of the country's top callers. His love of calling is quick to take a backseat to his love of the sport of turkey hunting. Mark, a gifted speaker, has a unique style that is fast making his video seminars some of the most sought after in the country. Working as a sporting goods sales representative, Mark works hand in hand with these quality manufacturers: Mossy Oak Clothing, Primos Wild Game Calls, Atsko Snow Seal Incorporated, and High Country Archery, just to name a few. Given his occupation, skill as a speaker, caller, and hunter, Mark is in tune at all times with the outdoor industry. More importantly, he knows today's turkey hunter and what they want to know. In Longbeards of the Spring, Mark Drury will start you on your way to becoming a turkey hunter of the 90s. Patient, cunning, skilled woodsman. These are but a few qualities that best describe Terry Drury. Having started hunting at a very early age, Terry has learned and perfected the skills needed to harvest any quarry, regardless of the situation. An accomplished engineer and businessman, Terry appreciates the chance to escape from the pressures of the job site to the turkey woods near his hometown of Bloomsdale, Missouri. In Longbeards of the Spring, Terry passes along some of his knowledge and experience to help you outwit your next spring longbeard. A veteran caller, writer, and hunter, Steve Stoltz uses his 20 years of experience to help you become a better turkey hunter. Steve's long list of credentials include over 100 calling titles, advisory positions with Golden Eagle bows, Mossy Oak camouflage, and Wellington outdoor products. His writings have appeared in publications such as Turkey Hunter, The Missouri Bow Hunter, and Turkey Call. As a professional fireman, Steve knows how to examine a situation, think fast, and act on it. In Longbeards of the Spring, Steve will not only show you how to examine a calling situation, he'll also explain the importance of load selection and shotgun patterning. Dale Whipfler, staff member of Primos Wild Game Calls, recently burst onto the calling scene, winning not 1, but 2 state championships. Dale finished out the season winning or placing in nearly every event in which he participated. A never-ending student to the bird itself, Dale is persistent in his quest to know the language and habits of his quarry. Dale Whipfler knows turkey hunting. Dale is also ever sensitive to the needs of the hunter and the problems within our sport, especially our increasing problem of safety. In Longbeards of the Spring, Dale will present 8 safety tips that, when followed, will make you become a safer hunter.
To hunt turkeys in today's woods, a hunter needs every advantage that he can get. Today's turkeys are smarter and warier than those birds just 10 years ago. The growing popularity of our sport has put more and more pressure in the woods each spring, and when you pressure a wild turkey, that bird becomes very hard to hunt. Smarter turkeys require smarter hunters. We're going to give you some rock-solid tips and advice on how to outwit these wary spring longbeards. We're going to show you how to pattern spring longbeards. We're going to tell you how to go out and roost a spring longbeard. We're going to explain to you some of their natures and their habits in hopes that the next time you deal with a bird that has hens with him, or you deal with a call-shy longbeard, you'll be better off. We're also going to give you prime times to be in the woods to get away from some of this hunting pressure.
You know, with the ever-increasing pressure that Mark's referred to in today's woods, it is of the utmost importance to realize the need for safety and the place that it has in every hunt. In addition to our hunts, we're also going to give you 8 very important tips to make us all safe hunters. We hunted across the country this year, from the Catskills of New York to the cornfields of Iowa to the sagebrush of Oklahoma and back to the river hills here in Missouri. Although the terrain differed, the techniques that we employed on these spring longbeards proved effective time and time again.
Everybody get ready, because like I always say, we're coming to you with Longbeards of the Spring.
In today's spring turkey woods, you need to give yourself every edge that you possibly can. One way to help yourself is to try and locate a gobbler the night before. How do I like to do this? Well, I like to roost a gobbler the night before. And there are 3 very effective methods that I like to use. The most commonly used method is owl hooting. Many times, right around dusk or late of an evening, you can go out and give an owl hoot and get a bird to respond while he's on the limb. If that doesn't work, try the howl of a coyote. The shrill, squealing noise of a coyote is almost irresistible for a gobbler. And the 3rd effective method that I like to use is to give the fly-up cackle of a hen. Many times, if you just want that gobbler to know where the location or the general vicinity is, if you do a fly-up cackle, many times the next morning he'll respond to that and come to that position. So try and use these methods. I think they'll be very helpful for you. We have just shown you 3 effective methods of roosting a spring longbeard: the owl hoot, the howling of a coyote, and the fly-up cackle of a hen. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about a method that works hand in hand with roosting a longbeard, and that is patterning a longbeard. You're about to see a hunt that involved both roosting and patterning, but the patterning was the key to our success. We observed this bird strutting on several occasions along the water's edge. So after very careful placement of the decoys within the gobbler strutting zone, we were able to harvest this foggy morning longbeard without ever giving a call.
He's up on that hill over there. Let him come down.
Here you can see where we place the Featherflex decoy. It's important that when you hunt with a decoy to place it within the effective zone of the hunter. Generally, this will be a distance of about 10 to 15 yards. Keep in mind, however, to put the decoy in a location where an approaching gobbler can spot it easily.
As Terry mentioned, we had observed this gobbler strutting on the point of this lake for several mornings. This told us that this was his strut zone. We were also able to determine that the gobbler was roosting in approximately the same place every night. This hunt proves that with correct decoy placement, hunting a strut zone is an extremely effective method.
Well, if that's not a foggy mountain gobbler, huh?
That's a good one.
You know, when this sun starts to raise, I think it'll start to burn some of this fog off.
Yeah, it should.
So we probably ought to try and get on another one if we could, huh?
Hey, sooner the better.
All right, I'll tell you what, due to the fact that we're in a public hunting area, we probably ought to make sure and get our orange out, huh?
Yeah, hey, that's a good idea. There we go.
Can't be too safe, you know.
Never.
Why don't we head on down to the boat and see if we can get on another one?
Okay.
One of the easiest ways to pattern a spring longbeard is to find that longbeard strut zone. After watching the foggy morning gobbler for several mornings, we determined that his strut zone was the bank of that lake. Well, to find these strut zones, we must first take a look at the turkey's nature and habits. Why do they choose openings for their strut zones? There's a couple key reasons why they do this. One, the turkey depends greatly on their eyesight. They prefer the open country to the brush. And two, they use the openings to display for the hens and impress them, and the hens generally go to the gobblers and mate. So if you can find their strut zone, the use of a decoy is also another lethal weapon when hunting strut zones. A properly placed decoy can sometimes be twice as effective as all the calling in the world. Strut zones can take many different forms. Some of the most common are openings in heavy woods, cedar glades, and of course, open pasture fields. Key things to look for when searching for a gobbler strut zone are tracks, broken wing feathers, and fresh droppings.
Never walk through the turkey woods without first putting on hunter orange. Should you bag a nice bird this spring, make sure you have that hunter orange visible for the walk out of the woods. Never identify a turkey by sound or movement. Always wait until you see the bird clearly. And in the spring, use the beard as the only means of legal identification.
You know, patterning longbeards is important, but patterning your shotgun can be just as important, as I found out this year.
These 3 hunts prove exactly how important something as simple as patterning a shotgun can be. This hen leads these 2 gobblers right past Steve's position, circling the crest of his hill as they passed. When moments later they popped up from behind, presenting Steve with his second opportunity within hours after his first miss.
Nice shooting, Steve.
Thank you.
I got him. Let him go. Anytime.
Would you believe 3 misses in one day? Unbelievable.
As you can see, missing a wild turkey is not only frustrating, but it's also embarrassing. Do yourself a favor and take your shotgun out and pattern that shotgun. Know where your shotgun's shooting at different yardages, 20, 30, and 40 yards. Shoot different shells through that shotgun. As you can see on them last 3 hunts, I had screwed a choke in the week before them hunts, and I didn't know where that choke was shooting. And so I was shooting high and missed all them turkeys. That was a mistake, my mistake. I can tell you, next time I go out, it won't happen again. I'll know where my shotgun's shooting.
As Steve mentioned, this type preparation should always be done before hunting. There are so many factors that can affect the way a given shotgun is shooting. Don't be afraid to try multiple combinations of chokes, powder charge, and shot size. Find the combinations that best fit your gun at ranges varying from 10 to 40 yards. But always keep in mind, no 2 shotguns will ever shoot the same. Here, Steve is joined by Oklahoman Junior Salisbury. Believe it or not, this was Steve's 4th attempt at a gobbler in one day. As you will see, patterning prior to hunting yields a much better end result.
I told you he was right up on that ridge.
Yeah, he was right over there, about 75 yards over this, across this hill. He was heading this way
He was ready to
come
go.
to roost.
He's ready.
He's going to roost right down here with him and that Jay.
Man, I'm glad. I'm glad. Let's go get another one.
These Rio Grands are hard to hit.
Oh, they're
I'm
tough.
telling you.
Yeah, they're tough. Let's go kill another one. Let's go.
Never wave, whistle, or call to alert an approaching hunter of your position. Yell the word stop instead. There's no mistaking the human voice. Never wear red, white, blue, or black in the turkey woods. These are the colors most commonly associated with the spring gobbler.
Foul weather longbeards. That's what we're going to be talking about in this section. In today's spring turkey hunting, you need to give yourself every advantage that you possibly can. One advantage that you can easily give yourself is to hunt more often, even though Mother Nature might not quite agree with you. Try hunting a rainy day, or try hunting a windy day. The turkeys will still be out there gobbling and strutting and mating. Maybe you'll get lucky, just like I did, this windy Oklahoma morning. about that for black powder?
Good shot.
Oh. You know, to kill a spring longbeard with a modern type shotgun is quite exciting. But to come in and kill one with a muzzleloader just adds all that much more thrill to the hunt. We came into this area this morning. We glassed these two toms from on top of the hill. We were lucky enough to get in within about 200 yards of them, which was hard in this open terrain. But we were happy with 200 yards. We set up, we did a lot of excited and loud calling. Well, why was I calling loud? One, because we were in an open area setup. We had the decoys out also to help out. And two, as you notice, we're hunting here in western Oklahoma, and it gets quite windy. And when you're hunting windy conditions, there's a good point to be made. You have to call a little bit louder. The reason for that is that loud calling will cut through that wind and get to those turkeys. Another point that you might be interested in is you might try a friction call, a box call or a slate. They seem to cut through a little bit better. In this case, it worked out pretty good.
The wild turkey is extremely conditioned to foul weather. Here we see a hen pruning during a light rain. What she is doing is getting a light oil from a gland located just above her tail feathers. By distributing the oil to each of her feathers individually, she creates a defense system impervious to the wettest of weather.
The defense system that Mother Nature gave the wild turkey enables them to endure even the fiercest of weather. We as hunters should be prepared to endure the same type of weather. Some of my most active days afield have been during the foulest of weather. If you can stand a little wet weather, you might get lucky just as I did this rainy April morning.
Never assume you're the only turkey hunter in the woods. Assume every sound or movement is another hunter until you can identify it as otherwise. Hunt hard and hunt long, but hunt defensively. Never use the call of a gobbler in the spring. A gobbler may draw other hunters into your area. The woods are dangerous enough. Don't go asking for trouble.
As our sport grows in popularity, so does the amount of pressure on spring longbeards. Never before has it become so important to understand the wary behavior of the wild turkey and how easily they can become a call-shy longbeard. When dealing with these call-shy birds, we must become smarter hunters. Two techniques I like to use when dealing with these call-shy birds is one, to change calling techniques, and the other is to change calling positions on a bird who's reluctant to come in.
Here's that calling change that Steve was talking about. He changed from excited cuts and yelps to just soft clucks. This is a very good remedy for gobblers who hush down with the first hint of excited calling. A call-shy gobbler is a bird that feels pressure for a given period of time. If you as a hunter can read this reaction and adjust to softer calling, your results may change dramatically.
That was a prime example of how changing your calling technique helped break a call-shy longbeard. Steve went from excited yelps and cuts into plain old clucking, and that brought that gobbler in. It eased his mind. Well, I found out on a Catskill gobbler that the change of position is just as important. After changing my position just one time, it broke that gobbler from his position, and he came in and I was able to harvest him.
Getting a longbeard to take his first step in your direction can be the biggest obstacle on any given hunt. One tactic that has been extremely effective for me is to change positions on that gobbler. In this hunt, I started my calling at a distance of around 200 yards from the gobbler. After 30 minutes of calling and waiting, with no movement at all on the bird's part, I was quick to cut the distance in half. Once I made the move, the bird immediately broke and began working his way in. Moral of the story, don't be afraid to make a move. about that, Norm?
Hey, unbelievable.
Huh? Look at the spurs on it. Look at the spurs on it.
It's been a long time since I've seen spurs like that.
I'm telling you. That is a good spur. That's inch and a quarter, at least inch and a quarter. It's a beautiful bird. I'd say 20 pounds. I tell you what, the key to the whole thing was changing position.
Yeah.
Never let excitement, nerves, or panic guide your behavior. Always try to remain calm and in control. There does not exist a gobbler that is worth a human life or injury. Remember, when hunting as a team in the spring, always know where your buddy is. The most common accident is when one hunting partner shoots another. Don't let an enjoyable trip afield turn into a lifetime of tragedy.
One of the toughest gobblers that you will ever hunt is a gobbler that has hens with him. We're going to show you 2 surefire techniques to help you out in just that situation. 1, we're going to explain how you can call those hens to you and hopefully the gobbler will follow right along. And 2, we're going to show you what we like to call fall tactics for spring longbeards.
Hello, from Northeast Iowa. I'm Dean Dempster.
And I'm Kelly Salo.
For Iowa hunters Dean Dempster and Kelly Salo, the outdoor world is not just a place of recreation, it's a way of life. As veteran taxidermists, each of them share their love of the outdoors and God-given talents with literally hundreds of hunters each year. Both were quick to put down their tools in exchange for an early season Iowa bow hunt. Let's join them now as they carefully work in a complete flock of turkeys. How do they do this? They work the hens.
Oftentimes, the failure of a bird to come your way is caused by the presence of hens. When you encounter this type of situation, a good method to employ is calling to the hens rather than the gobbler. By putting feeling and a tone of challenge in your calls, you might trigger a response from the boss hen in the group. Here, Kelly does just that, as he mimics the lead hens every call. If you take away a turkey's vision, you effectively overcome a major portion of their defense system. This footage stands as incredible testimony to the effects of good camouflaging techniques. Kelly's mossy oak blends in so well, he is able to draw and harvest this gobbler in front of several sets of eyes. Could you do this in your camouflage?
had a hen behind us helping us out a little bit. She started yelping, and I just started imitating her, and the hens come trotting towards me, and they came right to me. I thought for sure they were going to burn me. They were staring me right in the eye.
Can you remember last fall when you split up that young group of birds? You set up in about the same area and carefully yelped and kikied those birds back to your position. Well, that flocking tendency that was there last fall is there to some degree all year. The wild turkey is a flocking animal, and this tactic also works in the spring. Even though it goes against all rules of spring gobbler hunting, you can take a gobbler that has hens with him and split that group of birds up and attempt to call them back together. You separate that gobbler from his hens and see if it doesn't become a whole new ball game. To properly employ fall tactics on spring flocks, you must use the element of surprise to your favor. Here, an attempt at moving a gun caused this spring flock to separate in several directions. Once separated, an attempt at regrouping can prove extremely effective.
The element of surprise. That was the key to a good split on this flock of reels. After a quick change of position and a change from a mouth call to a box call, we were able to bring this Oklahoma longbeard back in. Positive proof that fall tactics on spring longbeards can and will work.
Terry is joined on this hunt by Oklahoma native Jeff Steele. Jeff, a staff shooter for high country archery, has won the Oklahoma State Championship 17 times. Jeff's persistence for tournament-level perfection is ever present in his quest for spring longbeards. Here, he uses his knowledge of the terrain to help Terry connect with this Oklahoma longbeard.
Here we find Terry and Jeff in a new position on that same flock of birds that was split up just hours before. By changing calls and positions, they were able to convince this old boy to come in for one more look.
Good job, huh?
What a good day.
But I bet you turkey is a lot better.
Oh, right now it is, partner.
What you got coming down so wrong?
You know, we've been telling you all about taking advantage of a given situation. We've talked about roosting spring longbeards. We've talked about patterning spring longbeards. We've showed you a little bit on how to hunt a longbeard with hens. Well, now I'm going to give you an advantage that's probably the easiest of all to take advantage of, and that's hunting non-typical times for spring longbeards. We're going to bring to you two hunts, one that takes place in the mid to late morning hours, and the other that takes place at 6 o'clock in the evening. If your state allows you to hunt till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, then do that. Or if your state allows you to hunt all day, then do that. The key is to be out there when everybody else is back at the coffee shop or home in bed. Stay out there till 1 o'clock, or stay out there till the evening. The turkeys will still be going strong all day long. The spring mating ritual only comes around once every year. So stay out there and take advantage of a non-typical time for a spring longbeard.
Here I am joined by one of my favorite hunting companions, my uncle, Marvin Drury.
you ever left the woods at 8 or 9 o'clock because the turkeys had stopped gobbling or you weren't hearing or seeing anything? Well, you may have made a very big mistake. So many people think that in the mid-morning hours, when that early morning gobbling dies down, the turkeys are done. Well, that is a very, very big mistake. We just had one of the most beautiful hunts I've ever experienced on a spring longbeard, and it is now 6 o'clock in the evening. They do it all day long, folks. That spring mating ritual only comes around once a year. And yes, if you can hunt in the afternoon in your state, you should take advantage of it. Some of the best gobbling hunts that you will ever find are in the evening. The birds will oftentimes come hard, and they'll come fast, just as they did on this hunt. We've been hunting all day and had no luck, and all of a sudden we struck a couple of birds and they came immediately into our position. There's a couple reasons for that, though. If you look at the turkey's nature or study the turkey's habits, you'll understand that after that early morning gobbling, they'll die down because they have hens with them oftentimes. Well, as the day progresses, hens go off to nest, they may go off to feed, they may go off to dust or to a watering hole. And as the day progresses, these gobblers will lose those hens. And oftentimes, the later in the day, the best chance is that he won't have a hen with him. And when you find a gobbler that doesn't have that hen, that is the gobbler that you're going to be able to call into your position, as we did here. And you see the results on that hunt.
Evening hunting where legal can be extremely effective. Another crucial time are the mid to late morning hours. Here's a mid-morning hunt in the Catskill Mountains of New York with our good friend Randy Panic that I think you'll enjoy.
Terry joins forces here with longtime friend and champion caller, Randy Panic. A native to this Catskill mountain terrain, Randy has been hunting mountain gobblers his entire life. Couple Randy's familiarity of the terrain with his unbelievable ability to blow a turkey call, and you will see you have created a lethal weapon.
Get on him, buddy. Good job. Call this one. Yeah. What a fine bird.
What did I tell you, Terry?
Oh, man. Hey, the Catskills of New York produces fine
Deer.
gobblers, don't it? Look, that's a nice bird.
Oh,
Good job. You call this one. Good job.
What did I tell you?
Congratulations. What a nice turkey.
Oh, man, that's a hunt.
You called it mid-morning. Man, oh man, you said
told
that.
you.
You even said that. If we strike one at mid-morning, we're
Most of my luck in these Catskill Mountains, farmland and everything like this, if you get these birds fired up at this time of the year for 9 o'clock in the morning and after, boy, usually they're going to come in 90% of the time. What did I tell you?
Good job.
It was a long day, wasn't it?
Big 10 gauge. Put it on him, didn't it? Man, oh man, nice shot. Good job. Excellent.
I had to pop them kind of quick there. Boy, the way he come up and all the sticks from his
He
cutting.
came pretty hard. He did some good gobbling, didn't he?
Could have stuck the cave. Was he hot or what?
He was hot.
Ah.
It just goes to show you that, you know, we worked hard this morning trying to get that bird in, and look at
Look at that bird. When they're with hens, bango, nothing. And we come on this turkey, 9 o'clock, you're ready to give up. Most people are ready to give up, and bango.
Good job. Good job. That's a nice bird. A nice bird.
Isn't that beautiful?
Gorgeous. Congratulations.
All right, thanks, buddy.
Good job, buddy. Good job. All right.
Hey, you're my real buddy.
No. You shot it. You're carrying it.
What you've just witnessed was a dramatization. The hunters in this case were actors. But this is a scene that happens way too often in our spring turkey hunting woods. Each year there are hundreds of scenes that go on just as this one did. We hope you've enjoyed Longbeards of the Spring, but if you take nothing else away from this video, please become a safer hunter this spring. Before you ever pull a trigger or release a bowstring, identify your target, because once you've released that energy, you will never bring it back. And if you become involved in a hunting accident, this is something that will live with you and haunt you for the rest of your life. I'm Mark Drury, and I thank you, but please have a safe hunt.